now on air to the public.
Okay.
Bill says he's booking up now. He'll be there in a few seconds.
Is the protocol still the same as when we're in person?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, can you hear me? I don't know. Oh yeah. Okay. Live, 1, 2, yep.
Mm-hmm.
You put that in right there.
Gary. Gary. Hmm. There you go. Now we got it.
All right, we'll call this meeting of the Heritage Preservation Board to order. It's 6:30 p.m., September 14th, 2020. Ms. Yothers, will you do the roll call?
Kim, you're still on
Mitch.
mute.
You're on mute.
Okay, Ms. Milford, Ms. Cornell,
Present.
Ms. Hallett,
Here.
Ms. Ryan,
Here.
Mr. Sprecher,
Here.
Mr. Mrozinski.
Here.
All right, thank you. Are there any comments from the public on any matters other than those on the agenda?
We do
Since
not
no-
have any public in attendance, madam.
well, or on the computer. Is there a motion for approval of the August 2020 minutes of the preservation meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as read. Well, they're not read, as presented.
Thank you. A roll call on the motion, please.
Wait, hold on, Chair. We need a second.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, I'll second it.
Thank you. Now a roll call of the motion, please.
Mr. Mrozinski,
Yes. You keep muting yourself, Kim.
Kim, you're still on mute.
We haven't heard the roll call.
She's on mute. So is Michelle.
Yeah, I go on and off.
Oh, okay.
Miss Ryan,
Yes.
Miss Hallett,
Yes.
Mr. Sprecher,
Yes.
Miss Cornell.
Yes. All right. Is there a quasi judicial announcement or swearing in?
Yes, Madam Chair. Okay. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding where the Heritage Preservation Board acts in a quasi-judicial rather than a legislative capacity. At a quasi-judicial hearing, it is not the board's function to make law, but rather to apply law that has already been established. In a quasi-judicial hearing, the board is required by law to make findings of fact based upon the evidence presented at the hearing and apply those findings of fact to previously established criteria contained in the Code of Ordinances in order to make a legal decision regarding the application before it. The board may only consider evidence at this hearing that the law considers competent, substantial, and relevant to the issues. If the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates the applicant has met the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the board is required by law to find in favor of the applicant. By the same token, if the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates the applicant has failed to meet the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the board is required by law to find against the applicant. Are there any members of the board tonight wishing to disclose ex parte communication or conflicts of interest?
No.
Seeing none, anyone that will be speaking tonight, including any members of the public or the applicant, if they could please present themselves and raise their right hand, and I'll wait a few minutes in case there are any anyone need to bring in. Seeing no one else, if so, staff, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I
Yes, I
do.
do.
And board members, for the record, you are not sworn in because you are not giving testimony tonight. So
Mhm.
Correct.
thank you.
All right. Tonight's application, 2099, location 225 Pineapple Street. The applicant is requesting a certificate of approval to renovate and expand a front porch, and secondly, to place a carport on the contributing altered property. Are there any representatives from this applicant present to speak on this issue, or anyone wishing to comment?
I'd like to present a staff report.
Oh,
If you
go right ahead.
Okay, Pat McNeese, Principal Planner. I'll share my screen. Can everyone see that?
No. Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
All right, now I do. Yes.
All right, this is application 29 for Carol Fish. And this is for expansion and replacement of an existing port and placement of a carport in the rear yard. This is at 225 Pineapple Street. This is a contributing altered structure. It is listed on the site file form as frame vernacular, and it does have craftsman elements. These are some basic pictures that I took during the site visit of the structure. You can see it's a double side gabled facade, front facade. It's got a concrete deck that's supported by brick covered in stucco, and we'll see a detail of that in a minute, with concrete steps and concrete side piers. The porch here is on the front. It's a nearly flat roof porch that is just supported by some wood posts in the front and a couple in the back. These are some more views. Shows the concrete deck floor supported by the brick foundation there. Shows a side view of the house where the porch is coming out now, and then the front view. According to the master site file form, this property is listed as having an enclosed, previously enclosed front porch and window replacements. And it's also listed as having had this porch that you see added in around 1990. The applicant has stated in their narrative that basically that the site file form is an error, that there was no original front porch enclosed, and that there was originally a front porch spanning the entire width of this structure that corresponded with the concrete deck. I did do a site visit to the property, and I did do a search for historic pictorial evidence, and I could not locate any. The applicant has not presented any. But I could not see the evidence of a previously enclosed front porch. And in fact, when we hear from the applicant, they can also speak to this. The windows looked probably, I didn't enter the property, only looked from the street. The windows look original, and I don't see the evidence of the enclosure. This is obviously a weatherboard wood material on the structure. Right next door, down the street, basically here's an example of a contributing altered double side gabled with an enclosed front previous front porch. It has been enclosed. You can see newer windows. You can see the piers from the previous porch. On this structure, the subject structure, I could not locate that type of evidence. So I am tending to basically, the applicant has some knowledge of this structure, and I agree that with what they are thinking, that the site file form may be in error on this one. The porch that's proposed is going to be spanning the entire length of the residence. This is a survey of the property showing where the front porch is. This is a site plan showing the porch replacement will span the entire front of the property, and we'll talk about the carport in a minute. And these are the dimensions. Your staff report is incorrect. The applicant did submit the corrected dimensions, which I sent you today, being 8 feet on the, I think this would be the south side. Am I right? Yeah. And then 6 feet on the north side, so that front line is a straight line, and this would correspond with where those front facade gables are. So this is the proposed design, is to basically mimic elements of the Craftsman style. It's to span the entire front width. There is no railing proposed. The height of the deck would be basically the same. And with respect to the height and width, given that the structure had a full width porch on it previously, it is judged to be consistent. And I don't think that the double side gable facade is overly dominated by this structure. I think everything's still visible, the window fenestration door, all double gables. in a roof form. With respect to your second criteria, basically the applicant is proposing brick piers with wood columns, wood fascia. They're proposing basically a flat roof material, which is the continuous rolled asphalt. I could not see the roof, so the house does have shingles on it, but I can't see that roof from the street. So I think that would be consistent. I don't know that it has to be a shingled roof, and it is nearly flat. The deck is proposed to be removed, the concrete deck, and replaced with a wood deck. The stairs and railings weren't mentioned. And so that would be something that I'd like the applicant to speak to, but I would assume that those are going to be going and be replaced with either with wood steps and wood railing. They will need a rail on the steps, I believe, by building code. They don't have to have one on the porch. It's not high enough. Let's see, is there anything else? There are, this depiction shows rafter beams coming out of the fascia. The previous one doesn't. Either way, they do have rafter beams coming out of the fascia on the main structure. So to me, either one is consistent. This porch does conform with the setbacks of the zoning district, which is R60. And it doesn't significantly change the relationship of the structure to the street. Again, I already talked about the roof. One other note, the applicant is proposing to take the bricks from the removed concrete deck and use those, recycle those and use those in the brick pier. They don't mention what the porch foundation piers would be of. I would recommend that they be brick, or you can discuss that and ask the applicant about that. Let's see if there's anything else on the porch. The applicant has stated in the application that attachment of the extended roof would not interfere with or alter the material on the house. So they have stated that. If you have any questions about exactly how that porch will be attached, that might be something they can speak to. Okay, so basically that's it for the porch as far as some staff is concerned. And these were examples of structures that the applicant did submit, of examples they're trying to emulate. This one, I don't know the address, so I can't tell you how that relates to the district. This one is in the district. It is not contributing or historic. It was built in the 70s, obviously of an old style, but this just shows one of the styles that they're trying to emulate. I did look through the district for other double side gabled. I looked at all the Craftsman ones I could find that had a full width porch. And I couldn't really find one that spanned both side gabled structures, but that doesn't mean that it didn't exist on that structure. So I wanted to show you another example, but I couldn't find one. Now on to the carport. The carport is proposed to be at the back of the property. And let's take a quick look at your site plan. Shows that it's going to be back here in the northeast corner. It's going to be behind a shed, which is not mentioned on the site file, so I don't believe the shed is contributing. And it has there's a 6-foot fence along one side and a 4-foot fence along the other side. And there's an alley back here. This is a 1-car carport. So it's proposed to be 12 by 20. The height was not provided, but as you can see by the drawings, it's estimated to be no more than 12 feet high. It is in a very unobtrusive location. It will virtually be invisible from the front yard. There is the shed there and some vegetation, so it would be difficult at best to see from the front. The orientation of the structure is side gable, the same as the main structure. So from the alley view, it should be congruent with the main structure. This carport is basically this picture shows you what they're proposing is a metal carport with a metal roof and simulated wood on the gable. Let's see, and the carport does conform with the R60 district and setbacks, so they're going to be okay with that. So the property owners were sent written notification within 500 feet. Your packet contains one response in support of the application, and staff is recommending approval of the application with the following conditions. And these were conditions that are addressing items that I could not determine from the application. Condition number 1 would be the vertical wood elements, including columns and fascia, would be painted. Condition number 2, that the new wood deck porch floor should be supported with brick foundation piers, and the new steps and stair railing should consist of wood with a simple railing style. And number 3, applicant is responsible for obtaining all permits. And that completes the staff report. If there are any questions of staff, I'll be glad to answer those now.
Thank you, Pat. Evidently, there are no questions of the staff at the moment. Is there anyone here representing the owner who would like to speak on this issue?
Pat, I only have one request
Okay.
or one remark.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Oh, okay. From the Justin Vesse, the contractor, on his very last statement, he said the carport can be trimmed in wood elements to a limited degree if required. Is that at all possible, Carrie, to just make it wood to match your wood framed house?
According to the picture, it has wood simulation. It's simulated wood. I would hate to have wood out in the elements if it doesn't have to be, if it looks like wood anyway. I mean, in the alley back here where it will be, there's many different types of carports, some legal, some not. But if it's simulate looking wood and the tops of, if the roof line matches, which it plans on matching with the shed and with the house.
And you're gonna paint it the same color as the house, I assume.
It's steel, and I think color is not an issue when it comes to the historic district, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, color isn't an issue in the historic district.
Oh, okay. I
Just drive around.
just wondering. Yeah, okay.
Carrie, I have a question.
Yep.
You say you're going to use the brick from the foundation of the porch for the columns,
If possible.
if possible. Will you be able to match the brick if it's not sufficient amount?
I think we'll probably do that beforehand. I still have some bricks left over when I took down the inside chimney. So if they match, if anything, I'd like them to match the chimney as opposed to, visible from the street. If the bricks match the chimney, that would probably be the best use. I may not like the bricks on the chimney, but there they are. So if there's not enough, since we're going to be using them, maybe we need newer bricks for the support underneath the wood.
Would they then match the bricks that are going to support the porch as well as the front columns? Will they all be the same?
We want everything to match. If we discover before we start that there isn't it, if all the bricks don't match, then we'll do something about it. We'll make sure they match. That's what I want. I'm very disappointed my contractor isn't here. He did say he would be here to answer any questions, but I can answer questions because,
Okay.
yeah. And I did have some comments on what Pat said, but I thought maybe the board should ask their questions first.
I have a question about the flooring. When you remove the concrete and you're going to put floorboards on, will they be wood, treated wood, or what will that be?
It's supposed to be treated wood. It's going to be treated wood. It's going to be a little higher grade treated wood than is standard. I believe that that'll be better. The problem I have with using the wood on the actual porch is, well, yes, it'll be covered, but I really didn't want to use wood for the steps because that won't be covered. Treated or not, rain in Florida goes sideways. So
Right.
I would prefer that the steps be brick as opposed to wood, just for that reason, because the steps won't be covered.
So you're planning on the steps being brick to match the columns and the foundation?
I hope, yes, that's my plan, yes.
What kind of,
And that the floorboards would be wood?
Yes,
Carrie, just a response. I put my porch on 20 years ago, and the original treated wood is still in wonderful shape as long as you keep it treated. You know, you paint it every so often, but it's in
Yes.
great shape.
Or
Okay.
seal?
20 years later. Mhm.
okay, so the wood, your steps are wood, Kathy?
My steps are wood also,
Okay,
but my steps aren't 20 years old because I changed my walkway. So I think you're correct getting the brick steps, but the pressure treated decking there's nothing wrong with it 20 years
Right.
later.
right. And I know that Pat
I
had,
think the question is a continuity of design. If you're using the wood on the flooring, then it would be the similar wood if you used it on the steps. And if you use brick on the steps, then it would be matching the columns and the
correct,
supports.
Right.
correct.
Yeah,
this-
look fine.
what kind of steps do you have in there now? Is it concrete steps
Yes,
right now?
yes.
Okay,
Well, I don't know if there's brick under them or not. The only
okay, but the surface is concrete.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that
Right.
was another question I had for Pat McNeese, where she said, you want the wood elements to be painted. Did you mean the brick? I mean, the wood decking, you want that painted a color?
No, so just to answer a couple things. Brick steps, staff would agree that those would be acceptable.
Good.
We just put wood because there was nothing said about the steps. On the painting, that was meant to be the columns.
Oh, the columns. Oh, okay.
the fascia. And I'm looking to see if yeah, wood elements of columns and fascia should be painted. No, I don't think, unless the board thinks otherwise, I don't know that you need to paint the floor of
No.
this.
You do have to preserve it though,
Yeah,
after a while. Yeah, you have to put the whatever that,
Thompson preservative or something like that.
right, yeah,
That's normal maintenance.
yeah,
Right.
that's,
Yeah.
maintenance, yeah.
I have a comment about the brick that we're talking about. As much as I love to reuse and recycle building materials, I'm a little concerned about the integrity of the existing brick.
Yes.
I don't know how old it is, how long it's been holding up that porch. It has been exposed to a lot of weather over that time. And the chimney brick, I'm not sure about your house, but my experience has been that a different brick is used for chimneys. And whether or not it has been in this case, if the chimney has been used over the years extensively, or not even extensively, it's possible that the integrity, the strength of the brick has been compromised. So I personally would be a little concerned about using 50, 60-year-old brick that's been compromised possibly to hold up structures like that.
Well,
That's just my
yeah.
comment.
Yeah, the thing is, if I can put in a little bit, they have codes that they have to adhere to columns and stuff like this. Usually the brick is a facade. The interior of the column is usually poured concrete with reinforcements.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
that's per code. So
Okay.
if they use the brick is going to be a facade.
Oh, thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
just want to do that.
So, but I had stated earlier that if we do need to get newer brick, that would be the ones that would be supporting in the supporting role of that, supporting the structure, supporting the actual porch. We would not use the older ones for that.
Yeah.
So I really want to repurpose all the brick I can. People on Pineapple Street are crazy about brick, and we really respect to reuse our brick here. So, you know, throwing it out is not an option.
The main
Yeah.
concern I have is that the brick all complements each other rather than have new brick and old brick mixed together
Right.
so that it's noticeable.
The bricks they have now match fairly well.
They
Yeah,
have to be
you-
chosen for that then,
You can get pretty new bricks that match fairly well with the old bricks.
as long as they are chosen with that in mind.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Are there any other comments or questions?
I have a question. The slope of the porch roof right now is, oh, right, and Pat would know this, is pretty much almost flat. If I wanted to change it just a hair so that the rainwater would run off it, like, what is my tolerance there?
Pat and
Uh,
Kate.
Okay. Basically, what the board's, what the city's guidelines look at is the roof materials. So roof materials shall not be mixed, right? So if you have a porch that you had a shed roof that you could really see, and we've had these before, the board has seen houses with a metal on one part and shingles on the other. Theoretically, you should have one, the guidelines call for one type of covering. So it's the visibility that is going to be the issue. So if
Okay.
it becomes visible, it's going to have to be a shingle, or at least that's what I would recommend to the board, is a shingle roof that matches the,
Isn't,
Well,
isn't there a limit as to the pitch of the roof? If it's relatively flat, doesn't it have to be
Yes.
a rolled roof rather than shingle?
Yes.
Yes, there is. If you have a shingled roof, it's got to be 2 inches per foot drop. Anything less than that, then you need a rolled roof.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, and you can do that, drop it down like a quarter of an inch a foot, and I don't think you'd ever see it. You
Okay.
know, and still have the slope. But if you want a shingled roof, it's going to be 2 inches per foot.
Okay. I don't care what the material actually. I don't want it pooling up there. That's all.
Oh, understood. Neither do the roofer guys.
They should have a slope of some type.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, is there a motion?
I motion that we.
Chair, wait, hold on, just real quick, and I know we don't have any audience, but just to double check for the record, is there anyone from the audience or has staff received any correspondence on public comment on this application?
staff received only one correspondence that's already in the packet in support of the project.
Great, and unless staff tells me otherwise, I don't see anyone else in the Zoom meeting, so I will assume that there is no one else in the audience. Thank you. I just wanted that on the record.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion?
Yes, there is. I submit that we approve the 2099 as stated.
I second.
And real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt again. Was your motion including staff's recommendations?
Yes.
Okay, and ma'am, your second is also including his recommendations,
Now,
correct?
the staff recommendations are for the paint and on the columns and stuff like that.
Sure, all of staff's recommendations. So that would be the motion. Thank you.
One clarification from staff. The second condition as written states that the steps should consist of wood. So we could either change that to wood or brick.
I think we should change that to wood or brick
Okay,
to
Wood or
match the
matching-
existing brick.
wood or
The
matching
reason I
brick.
say that is to match
Okay.
the existing brick.
that way.
Okay,
if it-
All right, so for the record, Mr. Sprecher, since you made the motion, so there's already been a motion and a second. So can you just amend your motion to include all of staff's amended recommendations?
Yes, I can. I'll
Okay,
amend it.
and-
I'll staff's recommendations, except for the stairs. They can be either brick or wood.
Great. And then can I get, Kathy, if you could second that amended motion?
Yes, I second the amended motion.
Great. Okay, so we are back on a first and a second, so you are good to go to vote or to discuss before you vote. Thank you.
All right, without any further discussion, then is there a roll call for this vote?
Mr. Mrazinski,
Yes.
Miss Ryan,
Yes.
Miss Hallett,
Yes,
Mr. Sprecher,
Yes.
Ms. Cornell.
Yes. All right, so the motion is passed. Congratulations, Perry.
Thank you very much. And thanks everybody for your time. I appreciate that.
enjoy your porch, Carrie.
Party, yeah, wouldn't be a party.
Party.
All right, is there any other further business that needs to be discussed at this meeting?
Staff has no comments.
All right, then with no further business, this meeting will be adjourned at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Thank you,
Stay
everybody.
safe,
Thank you, everyone. Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Stay safe.
You.
How do you turn off?